I'm back, y'all. So my hand is not completely healed yet, but I just wanted to make this video because I need some desperate therapy after having to deal with Thanksgiving. Anyways, while I was away, I joined a community on Discord where the job is to save Omega Strikers by introducing it to as many people as possible through the internet. Now, I doubt this video will bring new players in and even keep those players into the game, but this is something that I've desperately thought of while away. And if it wasn't obvious from the video title, this is another fan-made team lore video. Unlike my last team where I used a story beat of Rune to make the characters, these stories are all completely unique. One of them does use a set piece from an already established character, but that's all I used, I promise. Anyways, without further ado, let me introduce you to Team Kindred Fate. Yes! Sorry. Ever since he was born, Lawrence's voice was capable of producing ear-blistering sound waves by just speaking normally. During his early years, his wailing broke countless fragile objects and damaged his eardrums heavily, to the point of becoming deaf by the age of 2. His family couldn't afford to buy hearing aids and tried their best to adapt to this unusual situation. This ended up with them having to teach Lawrence how to communicate by only whispering or writing down his thoughts. This physical incapability caused plenty of bullying at school. Despite not being able to hear the comments of his peers, Lawrence felt the hostility towards them anytime he walked past. Lawrence shut himself away from any potential friends by feeling inferior for not having this blessing to hear. During these moments of solitude, Lawrence focused on the things he found himself interested in, the biggest interest being Core Strike. Every week, he would stay up late to watch his idol, Era, play at the highest level. He always loved watching these high moments and wishes he could be in the limelight for once, just like her. By the time he graduated middle school, Lawrence saw an event that excited him, a meet and greet with the Ember Monarchs. He begged his parents to let him go to this event, and luckily was granted the opportunity to go alone. At the event, he was able to finally meet Era. Lawrence couldn't hold his excitement anymore and started jumping with joy while writing down a long introduction in his notebook just for this once-in-a-lifetime interaction. He handed the notebook to Era and noticed her sudden shifts in emotion, something that seemed odd and alien for someone like her. At the end of the event, just as he was leaving, Lawrence felt a hand on his shoulder. Era gestured to follow her into a private room for a chat. As they sat down, Era passed to Lawrence a sheet of paper holding a long note. This note talked about how similar Era and Lawrence were in terms of upbringing. Era sympathized with Lawrence's situation and made sure to tell him that even if he felt alone, he wasn't. This, along with a small yet noticeable smile across Era's face, caused Lawrence to whimper for the remainder of the day. That night, Lawrence made a resolve to himself. He wanted to join the Pro League and become an idol for others who struggled with inferiority. Banding together with 2 other physically disabled strikers, Lawrence finally has been given the chance to prove himself and fulfill his dreams, and possibly go all out against his inspiration. I won't stop until we've achieved peace of mind. Far off on Twin Peak Isle, Braxter was born to the Onis of the island. Braxter had a gentle soul and wanted to protect his community, which led him to joining his mother's dojo to master his physical capabilities. Braxter was content with learning how to fight alongside his mom, but hearings of hatred towards humans was a topic he often questioned. How could one hate something they hardly ever encounter? Were humans even a threat towards the Oni? This questioning of morals led Braxter to the riverbank separating the 2 races apart. He longed to understand just what the other side was like, and if humans were truly as despicable as the adults say they are. That was when he met another boy. The 2 stared at each other from their respective turfs before running away. Braxter felt fear just for looking at this human boy. Anxiety filled his head of what his community would think for coming into contact with a human. At the same time, however, he wanted to learn more. He wanted to understand humans. Every night after training, he ran off to the river to find the boy. These nights of confusion and fear quickly turned into talks of curiosity and a deep friendship. They would discuss how absurd and wrong it was to judge the other side while describing their daily lives to deepen the connection. Eventually, the 2 decided to test their luck and attempt to finally meet in the middle of the river. They embraced and felt a new emotion brew inside. Braxter and Jarek kissed within the cold water, feeling they finally understood each other and wanting to transcend these boundaries. This tender moment wouldn't last long as 2 Oni guards saw the boys and swiftly attacked them. Braxter felt a burning pain come from the wound that cut his left arm off. He turned and fought ruthlessly to survive and protect not only himself, but Jarek. His martial skills helped him knock out the guards, but the blood he lost caused him to pass out. When Braxter finally awoke, he was in a room that kept on swaying side to side. Jarek was right beside him, wrapping his wound and attempting to distract Braxter from the pain he endured from the fight. The room eventually stopped swaying and the two boys snuck off the ship, heading into the harbor of Aten City. Jarek helped Braxter find medical attention to keep Braxter alive. Fortunately for the two of them, they found a hospital that took Braxter in. Months later, Braxter was fully healed and able to head back into the world. Jarek found an apartment for the two to live in thanks to Jarek's job in herbalism. Wanting to help out as well, Braxter felt he had only one job he could do. That was becoming a Core Strike pro player. Using his training, he flew through the amateur league and came across two players. One was a human young boy and the other was a rabbit kitten. He noticed how they also struggled with their disabilities and was willing to join their team to work with them. Now, having qualified for the Pro League, Braxter wishes this calling will lead to a better life for his teammates and Jarek. Thought it was easy pickings, huh? Maybe expect the unexpected next time. Martin had a mostly average life in Aten City growing up. He grew up in a community that took care of each other and treated one another like family. However, Martin had an innate ability to sense auras of anything. These waves of energy were all different and often caused Martin to panic due to the sensory overload as a child. As he matured, however, his ability to control these waves of auras did as well. By the time he graduated high school, he joined the military to work as a scout. His ability to sense people and things prevented many squads from premature graves. Martin's Excelsior work in the army awarded him many medals of bravery. Yet his golden years would eventually fade away. During a stealth mission, Martin's platoon was mid-battle when a grenade was tossed. Martin warned his squad, but the fight was too intense for anyone to listen. The grenade went off, killing nearly everyone in the battle while leaving others, including Martin, gravely injured. By some miracle, Martin made it out in nearly one piece. The shrapnel from the blast pierced his eyes, permanently cutting off his ability to see. With such an injury, he couldn't work as a scout anymore, let alone help protect and serve. With an unfortunate failure on his back, Martin was disbarred and sent home. Martin quickly fell to despair. He couldn't see anyone or anything anymore. He thought he had no alternate routes he could take. Fortunately, his aura reading was strengthened due to the loss of his sight. Without being able to see properly, he could feel the world around him and know what everything was. Martin felt relieved he could at least sense the world around him and wanted to find something to do. This drive to act led him to Core Strike fields. This sport felt enthralling from the energy he felt through pickup games and listening to the Pro League broadcast. With confidence he found a new activity to try, he attended the Amateur League. Despite the courage to play, nobody wanted a blind teammate, thinking they would just be a handicap, except for one player. A deaf kid approached Martin and asked to make a team, wanting to show that their disabilities don't make them lesser players. With Lawrence's vocal strength and Martin's aura reading, they rose to the Amateur League, eventually recruiting a one-armed Oni named Braxter and qualifying for the Pro League. Martin has found a new passion to experience and is willing to go all the way with this new opportunity fate has spun. And those are the stories of Lawrence, Braxter, and Martin. I will say that it's pretty obvious I wanted to make a team with strikers that have some sort of physical disability. I think it would be cool to have a more diverse character roster in terms of limited actions and abilities that one can do. Once again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help me with the algorithm, and be sure to give me feedback on my character writing. And remember, this is for the cause. We're here to save Omega Strikers. And keep on striking.